build a house on Tippecanoe Lake when I came out of the Air Force, because at that point all the servicemen were coming back and there wasn't anything to rent. So I didn't have any money either, but I had a chance to build a house. I built a 2-bedroom home for $8,500. Well, it was a nice home. It was a pre-cut home, what they call pre-cut, and it come out of Walden, Illinois. And the dealer was in Cromwell, and he had built one of the houses, and we put up a 2-bedroom, and we lived there 6 years to the day. But the kids wanted a horse, and we didn't want a garden, so it's interesting. The man we bought the farm from, he was something else. I finally got courage. He told me he was kind of an eccentric guy and very critical. He was a painter by trade, very particular. And my neighbor down the road there, my dad and he were both in the Saddle Club and knew each other, and he said, "Sherm, ought to look at that place." So one afternoon I come in off the road to stop. He was sitting on the front porch. I said, "Mr. Gordy, would you consider selling your farm?" He said, "Young man, I would sell anything for a price." And I thought, boy, oh boy. But anyhow, we talked, but he did want to show me the house. He showed me the house. And they had added the kitchen and the utility room, which had nice cupboards and so forth. So I thought, clean it like that. Well, anyhow, I told him I'd have to trade my house. Oh, he wouldn't be interested in that. He went to Florida in the winter. They had a place in Yosemite. So anyhow, he said no, he wouldn't be interested. I said, if you ever are, give me a call. So it was some time later. I'd come in one evening from Indianapolis, and the phone rang, and it was him. And he said, "Mr. Bryant," he said, "we've been driving around your house, and we'd like to come over and look at it." Well, we had put carpet down. We hadn't had carpet. We put carpet down, and Colleen touched things up. We've lived there 6 years now. I said, "Colleen, you hold your tongue because he's going to be critical." That's what they tell me, and that's true. He picked things apart, and she kept her tongue.
It's hard when that's your house, that's your home.
So anyhow, we made the trade. Yeah, well, I traded the house on it. It sure didn't pay the farm, so we traded on the 60 acres. I was going to get all the farm and the land across the road on the east side of the road, but he was raising popcorn, and he had a good popcorn crop.
Standard farming practices have changed a lot from when you started.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, we had horses when I was. Yeah, it was horses.
Horses helping do the actual labor of...
Oh yeah, we didn't have tractors. My dad purchased one of the first tractors in the area was an Oliver 70, and yeah.
So.
And you were moldboard plowing.
Oh yeah, and I moldboard plowed. In fact, I bought a new plow because if you didn't get all the corn stalk and stuff covered, you got criticized back then. I bought a 3-bottom plow that had slats. It wasn't solid. It was a slat about that wide. That goes, and so one fall I plowed quite a bit of this field, and boy, they did erode. I had Firestone from Syracuse come down with these dozer, and we pushed a lot of soil back, and that was the last. That's the last I did that.
Last you plowed?
Well,
that specific way, or?
Yeah, I didn't plow in the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I plowed in the spring, and then I think I bought the first chisel plow. You know what a chisel plow is?
No, tell me more.
Well, it's a tool that has big arms on it and has a narrow blade on it like that.
Okay.
It's about this long, and I had the first one, I think, and I was plowing, and my neighbor over here, he was an excellent farmer, and boy, when he plowed, there was not a corn stalk on top of the ground. And I was plowing there one day, or I was chiseling, the field there just west of my house, and he was on the field next to me. He came over to the fence and I stopped. He said, well, he said, it looks like hell, but he said, I guess it'll work.
And both matter, but the work part really matters if it works or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think about that. He's gone from moldboard plowing in the fall
Yeah.
to moldboard plowing in the spring to chisel plowing with
Yeah.
leaving part residue on the
Yeah,
surface.
yeah.
But even then, Sherm, probably when you
Yeah.
chisel plowed, you hit it
Yeah.
several times before you planted.
But don't say I was the first one that bought a chisel plow. I think I was the first one, but you know,
Don't quote you on that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, is think about, and then started no-tilling. About when? No-till planting.
Well, we put 4 kids through Purdue. We raised hogs. That's what put the children through Purdue.
Okay.
And then when they all left, we went to cattle. I had beef. I had a cow calf herd. I'd farrow about in last of April or 1st of May, and then in the fall we would wean the calves, and I'd feed them out to about 600 pounds, and then I'd sell them. And so now I forgot what I was going
But
to
as
say.
far as your the no-till planting.
Oh yeah, that was, and then Matt was a junior at Purdue, and he wanted to come home and farm, and Colleen and I talked about, you know, maybe cutting back. We did a lot of traveling, and so it ended up that I sold Matt my cows. They just went 2 miles, you know, and he wanted to get into farming, so it was 2003 that he bought the cows. So I've been no-tilling since 2000. Well, I started. I rented a field up north there, just up on the Syracuse-Webster Road. I was no-tilling that, and actually the first complete year of no-tilling this was all in 14. It didn't cost me any more for farming with that fertilizer until I went with no-till.
Because of the way that.
Well, I think I'd had the ground in good shape anyhow, and so.
And then as far as then the cover crops,
Yeah.
talk about the progression.
Yeah.
Then you've been with those for 10, 15 years.
Oh, a number of years, yeah. I used to shred fertilizer with a lime shredder. Did things early, I think, and
You tweak things and things, you know, find out what works for you and what doesn't. The main thing is that I think him and a lot of other people in this county, they decided that it's the thing they needed to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of a paradigm shift when you go from what he started out with, where you got to cover every corn stalk to this.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah,
a total
yeah.
That's a huge
change
Oh,
shift.
in
yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
yeah, everybody.
You
Yeah,
have to,
it's not.
you have to believe in the fact that it's the right thing for the land, and so I'm going to figure out how to do it.
It's not pretty. I mean, there are people still talk about. I mean, you'll see a field that's all just, not a thing on it where they've worked all the ground, well, to me that's expensive because you don't need to do it.
Yeah.
You didn't have to have as much equipment, and it was you didn't have to use as much fuel. You weren't going over the ground as much.
Right.